I never thought a single moment could flip my world upside down, but that's exactly what happened one rainy afternoon. I was sitting across from my best friend, someone I've known for years, someone who's practically family to me, and I noticed something was off. They kept fidgeting, looking anywhere but at me, like they were holding something and they couldn't bear to say out loud. At first, I brushed it off. Maybe they were just having a bad day, maybe they had a fight with someone else. But deep down, I could feel it, something was coming. And whatever it was big. We had met back in high school. You know how some people just click instantly? That was us. We laughed at the same dumb jokes, helped each other through breakups, late-night study sessions, and those awkward growing-up phases we all try to forget. We weren't just close, we were inseparable. Over the years, people often assumed we were more than just friends. But we'd always laughed it off. We're like siblings, we'd say. Nothing like that could ever happen. Or so I thought. That day started off normal as any weekend hangout could be. We met at our usual cafe, the one with the old couches and the barista who always got our orders right without asking. We were halfway through our drinks when the vibe shifted. My best friend, let's call them Sam for now, got really quiet. Their eyes darted to the window and back to me, like they were debating something with themselves. I asked if everything was okay, and they nodded, but it wasn't convincing. I tried changing the topic, joked about a show we both hated, but Sam wasn't biting. Then, out of nowhere, they took a deep breath and said, "There's something I need to tell you. And I've been holding it in for a long time." My stomach tightened. I could feel my pulse in my ears. There's something about those words that instantly sets your nerves on edge. A million thoughts raced through my head. Had I done something wrong? Were they sick? Was this the end of our friendship? What they said next. I'll never forget it. Sam looked me straight in the eyes, voice shaking just a little, and said, "I'm in love with you." Just like that. No build-up, no sugarcoating. Just raw, honest truth laid out on the table like a lightning bolt splitting the room in half. And I froze. My mind went blank, like someone had just hit pause on the world. This person who knew me better than anyone, who I'd trusted with everything, had been carrying this secret for who knows how long. And now it was out there, hanging in the air between us, impossible to take back. I wanted to say something, anything, but no words came. My heart was pounding, not just from shock but from this strange mix of emotions I couldn't even name. Was I flattered? Confused? Scared? Maybe a little of all three. And Sam just sat there, eyes searching mine, waiting for a reaction I didn't have yet. It felt like time had stopped, like the rest of the world had gone quiet just for this one moment. All the memories, the late-night calls, the inside jokes, the years of friendship, they suddenly looked different, like they had a new meaning I hadn't seen before. And in that moment, sitting across from someone I thought I knew inside out, I realized something that left me just as stunned as the confession itself. But what I did next, well, that's a story you're going to want to hear. I didn't say anything right away. I couldn't. I just sat there, staring at Sam, trying to make sense of what had just happened. My drink had gone warm, untouched, and the usual noise of the cafe, the clinking cups, the quiet hum of music, the low buzz of conversations, faded into the background. It was like everything had gone distant, except for Sam's eyes. They weren't just nervous. They looked exposed. Like they'd handed me something fragile, and now they were waiting to see if I would drop it. The silence stretched out between us, and I hated it. I wanted to reach across the table, say something comforting, anything to take the pressure off. but every word felt wrong in my mouth. My mind was racing through every memory we'd shared. All those times we'd sat side by side, talking about our love lives, complaining about people who ghosted us, hyping each other up before job interviews or big events. Were they feeling something more that whole time? And how didn't I notice? It started to hit me how much I didn't know. Sam had always been there. Always steady, always kind. But now I was realizing I hadn't really asked the deeper questions. Like, what were they going through when I was ranting about my latest crush? What were they feeling when I talked about people I liked, not realizing it might be hurting them? Were they smiling just to keep our friendship from changing? Even though I didn't say much, memories started flooding in, moments I'd never thought twice about until now. Like the time I was heartbroken over someone who barely gave me the time of day, and Sam just sat with me for hours, saying all the right things. Or that one night we stayed up talking until sunrise, laughing about the most random stuff, and I remember feeling this weird comfort, like nothing could touch us. Looking back, maybe that was more than friendship for them. Still, I couldn't figure out how I felt. I mean, sure, I cared about Sam, of course I did. But love? I wasn't sure. I'd never let myself think about it like that. Our connection had always felt safe, familiar, solid. But now it was like everything had shifted, and I wasn't sure where we stood anymore. I didn't want to hurt them. I didn't want to lose what we had. But I also didn't want to pretend to feel something I wasn't sure about. Sam finally broke the silence with a soft, almost scared voice. You don't have to say anything. I couldn't keep it in anymore. That made it even harder. Because now the pressure wasn't just on me to figure out how I felt, it was on me to protect something we both valued, even if we saw it differently. We left the cafe not saying much more. Just a quiet goodbye, the kind that feels heavier than usual. And as I walked home, heart still pounding, I kept wondering, had this changed everything forever? Or was there a way back to how things were before? Or maybe, was this the start of something I hadn't been ready to see? But I still didn't have answers. Not yet. And the longer I sat with it, the more complicated it started to feel. The days after that confession felt like walking through fog. Everything looked the same on the outside, but inside, I was spinning. I couldn't stop replaying Sam's words in my head. I'm in love with you. It kept echoing, showing up at random times, in the middle of work, while brushing my teeth, even when I was just scrolling through my phone. And the worst part? I still didn't know how I felt. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even uncomfortable. I was just stuck. Stuck between a past I understood and a future that suddenly looked unfamiliar. Sam and I didn't talk much in the days that followed. It wasn't like we were avoiding each other, but everything was different. The way we texted, the way we used to send random memes or vent about annoying coworkers, it had all slowed down. There was this invisible weight between us now, like neither of us knew how to act. Should we pretend nothing happened? Should we talk about it again? I didn't know what the rules were anymore. I started asking myself questions I'd never asked before. Like, was I holding back feelings too? Had I been so wrapped up in keeping our friendship just friends that I'd missed something deeper? But every time I tried to go there in my head, something would stop me. Fear, maybe. Fear of ruining the best relationship I've ever had. Fear of saying the wrong thing. Fear of leading Sam on. I couldn't tell if I was protecting them or just protecting myself. And then, there was another layer, someone else. I'd been casually seeing this new person, Mia. It wasn't anything serious yet, just a few dates, some flirty texts, but she had started to become part of my daily life. I hadn't told Sam about her, not because I was hiding it, but because, well, I didn't think it mattered before. Now, it suddenly did. I felt guilty, like every message I sent to Mia was somehow betraying Sam. And that guilt started to twist everything. What if Sam knew about her? What if that was part of why they confessed when they did? One night, I bumped into a mutual friend, Jordan, who casually mentioned Sam had been quiet lately. They seem off. Like something's bothering them, Jordan said. I just nodded, not knowing what to say. I didn't want to share Sam's secret, but I also felt like I was carrying this huge thing alone. The whole situation was turning into a puzzle with no clear way out. No matter what angle I looked at it from, something important felt like it could break. And the longer I waited to figure out what to do, the more I felt the tension building, between me and Sam, between me and Mia, and inside myself most of all. I kept telling myself I'd talk to Sam. That I'd clear the air, be honest, figure out what all this really meant. But days kept passing, and the silence between us grew heavier. Every time my phone buzzed, I half hoped it was them, ready to say something, anything, but it never was. And I couldn't bring myself to message first. Not yet. I was scared of what I might hear. Scared that whatever I said would be the final push that sent our friendship over the edge. At the same time, things with Mia were getting more complicated. She noticed I was distracted. She asked if something was going on, and I lied. I said work had been stressful. I said I was tired. But the truth was, I couldn't focus on her when part of me was still back in that cafe, staring across the table at Sam and hearing those 4 words all over again. Every moment with Mia started to feel like I was cheating on someone I wasn't even in a relationship with. One night, I couldn't sleep. I kept tossing and turning, my head full of what-ifs and regrets. So I grabbed my jacket and walked to the park near my apartment, the same park where Sam and I used to sit and talk for hours. I didn't plan on seeing anyone there, but when I turned the corner by the benches, my heart stopped. Sam was there. They were just sitting alone, hoodie pulled up, staring at the sky like they were trying to find answers in the stars. For a second, I froze. Part of me wanted to turn around and walk away, avoid the confrontation I knew was coming. But something held me there. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was love. I didn't even know anymore. All I knew was that the moment had found us, whether we were ready or not. Sam looked up and saw me. Our eyes locked. No words. Just tension thick enough to feel in my chest. And in that split second, I realized nothing was going to be the same after tonight. I took a step closer, my heart pounding so hard it felt like it echoed in the quiet night. Sam didn't say anything at first. They just watched me, their face unreadable. I sat down beside them, not too close, unsure of what I was even doing. The air between us felt heavy, like it was holding its breath. I opened my mouth to say something, anything, but Sam beat me to it. I saw you with her, they said quietly. It hit me like a punch to the gut. Mia, they added, almost like the name itself stung. I didn't know what to say. My thoughts scattered. I hadn't told them about Mia, not because I was hiding her, but because everything had been too confusing. But now, hearing it out loud, I realized how it must have looked. Like I'd heard Sam's confession and then ran straight into someone else's arms. I didn't mean to keep that from you, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I didn't know what I was feeling. Sam looked down, their hands gripping the edge of the bench. It's not about her. It's about you not trusting me enough to be honest. Their words weren't angry, but they cut deeper than if they had been. I didn't expect you to feel the same. But I didn't expect silence either. Before I could respond, they added something I wasn't ready for. She's not the only one who's been around. Jordan told me you've been talking to someone else, too. That you've been confused for a while now. Their voice cracked just a bit. And now I feel like this wasn't just about feelings. It was about timing. Maybe you only showed up here tonight because you felt guilty. That moment hit different. It wasn't just about love or friendship anymore. It was about trust. And I could feel everything we'd built slipping right through my hands. The silence after Sam's words felt like a slap. I didn't even realize I'd stopped breathing until I finally looked up and saw their eyes, not angry, just tired. Hurt. I wanted to defend myself, to explain everything, to say that nothing with Mia was serious, that I wasn't trying to hurt anyone, that I was just lost. But none of it felt like enough. So instead, I told the truth. I didn't come here because I felt guilty, I said. I came because I miss you. Because everything feels wrong when we're not okay. Sam didn't say anything, but something in their expression shifted. So I kept going. I was scared. You dropped something huge on me, and I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to be honest with you, or with myself. My voice cracked. But you were right. I should have trusted you. We sat in the silence, and for a moment, I thought maybe this was it, maybe we'd said everything, and there was nowhere left to go. But then Sam looked at me, their voice low. I've been talking to someone too. That stopped me cold. They came into my life a while ago. It wasn't serious, but after I confessed and didn't hear anything from you, I didn't know what else to do. The twist hit me in the chest. I wasn't angry. I couldn't be. We were both just trying to protect ourselves in the only way we knew how. So what now? I asked quietly. Sam looked away, then back at me. I don't know, they said. But I don't think we go back. I think we start over. And somehow, that felt even scarier than everything before. We sat there for a while, not saying much, just letting the weight of everything sink in. It was strange, after all the tension, the tears we didn't cry out loud, the messy feelings, we somehow ended up side by side again. Not the same as before, but maybe stronger in a different way. There was no perfect fix, no dramatic kiss, no sudden realization that we were meant to be. But there was honesty. And that was more than we'd had in weeks. We talked. About everything. About how scared we'd both been, how timing messed things up, and how sometimes love doesn't follow the clean lines we expect. Sam told me they weren't sure what they wanted right now, and honestly, neither was I. But we agreed on one thing, we didn't want to lose each other. Not to confusion, not to silence, and definitely not to fear. Mia and I ended things, gently. It wasn't right to keep going when my heart was clearly somewhere else, or still figuring itself out. I needed space to understand what love meant beyond the labels. Sam did too. We weren't rushing anything. No promises. Just space, and maybe a beginning, whatever that looked like. Life didn't give me the fairy tale ending I thought I'd have when I first sat down at that cafe. But it gave me something real. It taught me that sometimes the people closest to us carry feelings we never see coming, and that being honest, truly honest, can be the scariest and most freeing thing we ever do. And as for me and Sam, we're not writing the ending yet. We're just turning the page.